In this episode, we finish assembling the Harley and see if we can get it running. Okay, so a few years ago, I replaced the fuel pump in this bike. There's a video on it. It was one of the first videos I've done. If you watch it, be sure to comment that I blocked the entire view of me reinserting the fuel pump into the tank. Anyways, that was a mistake. I apologize that I blocked the view. It was very difficult to get in, and I was a little frustrated, and like I said, it was the first video I made. Anyways, ever since then, my fuel gauge has not really been working accurately. So I think maybe that the fuel sender float is a little bit hung up inside there. So I'm going to quickly pull this apart. I'm going to try not to pull the whole thing out because it's a total pain in the butt to get back in. But anyways, that's what I'm going to work on now. Alright, so I pulled that all apart. I was able to get my hand in there. The float is moving freely, so I don't think that was the problem, but that's all it's as far as I want to delve into that problem for right now. The gas gauge kind of works for like the top half, so it's just the bottom half isn't quite as accurate. So maybe it's the actual fuel sending unit that isn't working, or maybe there's a wire that's a little bit pinched or something. Anyways, I don't want to pull the whole thing out right now because it's too much of a pain to get back in. So, moving on, let's get this tank back on the bike. Next up, we're going to install the exhaust. Okay, so everything's back together now, except for the air cleaner, which I need to clean. It's filthy dirty because last time I was riding it, it was fire season and there's dirt and ash, and anyways, it's in rough shape, so it needs to be cleaned. However, the next thing I'm going to do is drain the oil so that if there are any contaminants in that oil, I'm not going to put it through the engine again. So that's next on the list, drain the oil. Okay, so we've got everything hooked up except for the fuel, and I've got the spark plugs out still. I just want to turn it over a bit to see if we can build up oil pressure, get the oil light to turn off. We've got it in neutral back again, so let's give this a try and hopefully we can get that oil light to turn off. So that was successful. I was able to turn it over till the oil light went out. It does turn back on once we stop turning it over, but I think that's okay. I've got to pick up a couple things. I want to replace the spark plugs, need a new O-ring for the check valve, and a couple other things I'm going to pick up down at the shop. and then we should be able to get this thing fired up. We are very, very close to starting this up. So yeah, good news, good news. Next up, we're going to work on this check valve. I've got to replace the O-ring, which I believe fits up just inside here. So that's what we're gonna work on next. Okay, O-ring change. Let's turn the pump on, get to prime, see if it leaks at all. No leaking. Fantastic. Okay, so I think we're ready to see if this baby will start up. We've got fuels all hooked up, got new spark plugs, battery's been charged, so let's give this a whirl. Neutral. Fantastic. Much quieter. Clearly cam chain noise is gone. So got a few more things just to tidy up. We got to clean the air cleaner, get it installed, get the seat back on, saddlebags. Let's go over everything, make sure everything's tightened up. Yeah, that's fantastic. Next up, we are going to tackle cleaning this air cleaner. As you can see, it's pretty dirty. Last time I was riding the bike, like I mentioned, it was fire season. There was a lot of ash in the air. So I want to give this a good clean. I have it off the bike this way because of the work we've been doing, but normally this piece would stay mounted. Just need to undo. We've got the filter separated from there now. Okay, so this is a Screaming Eagle Performance air cleaner. I picked up this K&N recharger. It comes with a bottle of cleaner and a can of air filter oil. So the first step is simply to give this a good spray with this cleaner, and then you want to let it sit for about 10 minutes, but don't let it dry on there, and then we're going to flush it out. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so here's an unexpected problem. The spray pump on here is broken. Pump it once and it just sticks down and it won't come back out. So that's frustrating me. So I'm just going to switch over to a different spray. Hopefully this will speed things up. So. Okay, so we've got that well saturated. It needs to sit for, I believe, let's see what it says. Apply cleaner. Allow it to soak for 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll set a timer for 10 minutes and then we'll come back and we'll rinse it out. Okay, so next up we are just going to flush this with some clear water until it runs clean. You're not supposed to use a high pressure nozzle or anything. I've got this one which it's not really high pressure, so. Okay, so we've got this completely flushed out now until it was running clear water through. Now we just got to let it sit probably overnight to completely dry, and then we'll apply the oil. Okay, next on the agenda is to get this floorboard reinstalled. Okay, so here is something to note. The space under here is really tight. It's pretty difficult to get in there. What I found worked the best was I've got this a 3/8 Allen head socket, which is, these are Allen head bolts. So that would slide, I could manage to get that in, but to get a ratchet or anything in there afterwards, it was really difficult. You could probably access the front one okay if you move this oil cooler down a bit, but or out of the way. But I didn't want to start messing with that. So what I found worked was I was able to get this in, and it stuck out enough that I was able to get like a 10 mil wrench onto that. So I got the socket into the bolt, and then I was able to tighten the bolt up with a 10 mil wrench. So just a little tip, worked for me. Maybe that'll help you out as well. All right, so it has been overnight. This is now nice and dry. Just going to apply the oil. This is to spray along each pleat about 3 inches from the can. So let's give this a try. Okay, so I'm going to leave that now for about 20 minutes, and this is just to come back and look for any spots that I may have missed once it's all wicked in. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So. Okay, so we took it for a quick test run. Running like a top. Gotta have temperature, put in some fresh fuel. Running like better than ever before. I'd say that's one successful project. As always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on Analog Generation.